Philip Martin, and this is On Film, on video. And we're doing this for the third take. This is the third try. I hope I have sound. I think I have sound. It's showing me that I've got input level over here. I did the whole thing without sound a while ago. So anyway, what we're going to talk about today, as I said in my column up above, which isn't up above anymore if you're watching the video, but and welcome if this is the first time you've come to visit with us on our little video adventure, is I'm going to talk about the Oscars a little bit, because the Oscars are something, if you have been paying attention for the last, 25 years or so, you know kind of how I feel about them, which is that they're okay. I mean, it's a big industry banquet, and they honor each other in Hollywood, and they're using it to promote their movies. And this is important from a marketing standpoint and from who gets paid standpoint, and all kinds of important things come out of it. But it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with what I see my job as a film critic. I mean, my job is to write interesting things about movies. Not to write about the business of movies, though I do that occasionally, and not to write about, these horse races. Art is not a competition, which is another reason I have trouble ranking things, like top tens and stuff like that. It's sort of difficult for me. I'm not sure that I just don't think that's what we ought to be doing most of the time. I mean, I'm okay spending a few minutes talking about the Oscars on something like this, because everybody's going to talk about the Oscars, and we just got the nominations, and there are some surprises. I mean, I'm looking at the top 10, the best picture, and it ended up being 10 movies this year. It could have been fewer, but because of the formula they apply that I don't understand, you probably don't either, we end up with 10. And we don't end up with the most popular movie in America last year, the Spider-Man No Way Home. Is that it? Yes, I think so. But which, came out on December 17th and still managed to do more box office than any other movie that came out last year. Okay, we don't have any of the 4 Marvel movies that were at the top of the box office in the Best Picture thing, which is why we have 10 nominees, because they want to get something like that in there. But they didn't. They failed. And a couple of years ago, you remember they tried to come out with that Best Popular, stupid. I mean, it's sort of demeaning, and it's sort of, because I think that a good movie, the best movies, can be these big popular Hollywood movies sometimes. I think that's the best kind of movie, but it's awfully hard to jiggle it so you get these things exactly the way the industry wants it. They didn't get it the way they wanted it this year, but they did get something in there. Don't Look Now is in there, which gives Netflix 2 shots at Best Picture, because they've also had The Power of the Dog. And both of these showed in movie theaters, just enough to qualify. I don't know exactly whether that's one screening in New York and LA or whatever, but it's like they showed enough that some people saw them in theaters. I happened to see Power of the Dog in theaters, and I could have seen Don't Look Up in theaters. I did have a screening of that. I chose not to go to that for whatever reason, but we had, very few of us had a chance to actually see these in the theater. Okay. Almost nobody in Arkansas, except for me and my fellow critics. But still, they're movies. And they are what we understand as movies now, having gotten used to the streaming thing over the last few years. And Hollywood has given up, and Netflix has got 2 contenders here. And I don't know that they don't both have a chance. I certainly think Power of the Dog, which got so many nominations in all these categories, has a big chance to win Best Picture. And I'd be really happy with that, because it's my favorite movie of last year. I'm not saying the best, because, number one, I haven't seen everything. And there's a lot of stuff I haven't seen I suspect is really good. and I might even like better. But it's there. And Don't Look Now, which is a movie I didn't particularly care for, though I didn't hate it. I just think it's a okay movie. It's a little bit broad for my taste. It's a little bit obvious for my taste. It's got a lot of stars in it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, and I thought Mark Rylance was really good in it. Meryl Streep, and it's Adam McKay. It's got kind of some industry juice behind it. Not sure it won't. I think it has a chance to win, and I think there are some people out there who really don't want it to win because a lot of people really didn't like that movie. Our reviewer, Courtney Lanning, really didn't like the movie. I would have been a little gentler with the movie than she was, but I still wouldn't have rated it in. Obviously, I didn't put it in my top 50 of the movies I saw last year. My end of the year piece, I don't think I mentioned it. I don't think I mentioned any performances either. So obviously, it's not a movie that I adored. The others in the list, it's like I kind of get them. I mean, Coda, a very nice movie, very sweet movie, but a little bit. Even though you have characters who are not normally represented on the screen, you still have them doing the sort of cliched things and having sort of cliched arc that they would have. And so it makes it more of an ordinary movie than some people perceive it as, I suppose. A lot of people like it a lot. I don't think it has much of a chance to win, but what do I know? Belfast, another nice movie. And nice movie, I mean, I get it. I liked it. It was fun to watch. I liked the High Noon stuff, which sort of dovetailed with the episodes of Goliath, the Billy Bob Thornton series I was also watching around the time I saw it. What I think the key to this movie is, I think that Kenneth Branagh watched Roma a couple of years ago and said, I could do that. I had a childhood that was really interesting, and I could do a memory play and recount these historical events and these family events through the eyes of the younger me, and we'll do it in black and white, and we'll make and he did. He made a nice movie. But again, we're trying to identify the very best of the year. Is it one of the best of the year? Well, it depends on where you draw the line. Yeah, it's a good film. I mentioned it in my end of the year piece. Fine, Dune, just one of those movies that I respect more than like. It's where they pulled all the Star Wars stuff from, they kind of cribbed from the book. And people who really like the book kind of like this movie, which is a good sign. And the movie's way more accessible than the David Lynch version that came out in 1980, 84, 85, which totally baffled me. I wasn't baffled by this one. I like some of the visuals, but I really don't think much about the film. I don't really, it didn't stick with me the way that some of them will. Did I say I just have not seen West Side Story? Still haven't. That's my fault. That's on me. I've had plenty of opportunities. I wanted to see it in the theater. I missed that opportunity. I haven't seen it yet. I understand that it's a respectful, remake that updates the original, and I really like the original. It was one of my favorite films. Probably my favorite musical, if I had to really say. I mean, there are other unconventional musicals I might argue for, might like more, but some more musical documentary things, or Velvet Goldmine, which isn't really a musical in my way of thinking, but West Side Story, I'll just put over here in the box. I haven't seen it, can't say anything. I don't think it has much of a chance to win, but it does have a lot of industry juice with Spielberg. And I think maybe a lot of the Academy voters who still skew pretty old are probably going to, appreciate that more than, say, Drive My Car, which is a film that I really like, but it's 3 hours long. It's an international film, which I think gives you an out. It's like you vote it for Best International Film. You don't have to vote it for Best Picture, even though you might really like it. If I'm just thinking, putting myself inside the head of your average Academy voter, like it's okay, I don't know, have no idea. But I think that also King Richard, I think King Richard's a contender. Will Smith, it's a really good performance. It's a little biopic-y. It's a little bit conventional, but the performances are all real good. And it hints at the problematic nature of really Richard Williams. It really doesn't delve into it very much. There's one scene where they really kind of point out that maybe this guy wasn't the best guy all the time, but it's kind of limited to one scene. You can kind of understand that with the cooperation of the family. The Williams sisters, Serena and Venus, were involved in the making of the film. The little girls who play them are really good, and I was really impressed with the tennis scenes. But does that make it the best movie of the year? Maybe not. Here we go. It's Noon Whistle. But we have a really good Hollywood movie, the kind of movie that wins Academy Awards typically, or used to anyway. Used to, this would be one of the leaders. And maybe it still is. I mean, haven't looked at any of the odds. I don't know. I'm not good at picking these winners myself. Maybe, I think it's got a fighter's chance. Licorice Pizza, I don't think has a fighter's chance, even though I love in its way. It's a small kind of movie, a small concept movie. I think it's another memory play. And when I saw it, I was charmed by it, by a lot of things. The Bradley Cooper scene, the junior high school at the beginning looked just exactly like the junior high school I went to in Southern California was that 69? Well, it was right at the turn of the 70s. Okay. And I think it's a really good film. I don't think it's the best P.T. Anderson film. But certainly, if you're going to have a list of 10 best, of the 10 best picture candidates, it probably deserves to be on there. I guess that brings me to Nightmare Alley, which is if Power of the Dog doesn't win, I would like to see Nightmare Alley win. I just think it's sort of a disciplined movie. It is very much, I don't know, I want to go back and read, or not read, I want to go watch the 1947 Nightmare Alley and see how closely this one hews to that. Because it feels like, they just picked the script up and shot it. I know they didn't. I mean, I know it was rewritten. Guillermo del Toro and Kim Morgan wrote a script for this, and so I know it's not going to be the same, but it's the same story basically. I want to say it feels like it could have been a film from the 40s, and I really like that about it. I love the visual textures in it. I like some of the performances an awful lot. They're shrewd performances. They're knowing performances. It's a really good movie. Power of the Dog, of course, is my choice because I picked it back when I saw it. And I'm a little surprised that Hollywood has sort of gone along with that judgment, because usually I'm not. Usually I'm a minority voice. Usually I'm a dissenter. But here I am, found myself firmly in the majority here, at least if you look at all the nominations in toto. Everybody seems to have liked Power of the Dog. They gave everybody, the 4 main cast members all got Best Acting nominations. And, Campion is probably the odds-on favorite to win Best Director. It's in the cinematography category. It's just all over this. So, hey, great. For once, Hollywood and I agree. So, okay. That's baffling, but I'll take it. I just want to, I don't want to talk about snubs because, lots of people write about who got snubbed, I don't really think there's only 5 of these spots. So you're going to leave out a lot of good performances. And the thing is, you can have a great performance in a film that doesn't really matter. It's not really in the mix for these Oscars, and I think you get left out then automatically. It's funny that, it's like when I'm looking at these, some of the things that stick out to me, it's like the Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman getting nominated for Being the Ricardos. And I think Being the Ricardos was a chance for them to impersonate Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz. I don't really know if that's a very difficult thing to do for people of this caliber, for actors like this. I mean, I thought Bardem did really well getting a voice down and getting some of the, but he doesn't remind me of Desi Arnaz at all, who I remember as this sort of, kind of slight figure, very, almost a lapdog of a guy, and that was part of the humor because it looked like Lucy could just manhandle him, I mean, that was part of that whole dynamic, I thought. But, he does an excellent job, and she does an excellent job. I don't think that the movie really is all that interesting. It's, Aaron Sorkin writing about what Aaron Sorkin writes about, and putting these words in these mouths of these characters, and then it's very stagey, very wordy, not as clever and effective as I think it should have been. But that's just, again, it's hard for me to say something's better or best. But, it's like those performances are fine. If you're making that movie, that's exactly what you want. Andrew Garfield in Tick, Tick, Boom. It's a movie I didn't care for. He's fine in it. He's, not a musical performer, but he becomes one in this. Great. Will Smith, I thought, was really good in King Richard. Really good. I mean, it's sort of like big movie star guys, sometimes they don't get the credit they deserve for being actual actors. Now, I think that, Benedict Cumberbatch in Power of the Dog, I think that's my choice. But it's my choice because I love that movie. And also because I thought he did a really good job of becoming this character. And you almost worry about him. You worry if it hurts him, And it says something that for a while, my wife was watching this movie with me. She didn't recognize him as Benedict Cumberbatch. She should have, because she's seen him in a lot of things. But something about the person he became. Again, is it harder to do that than it is to become somebody else? I don't know. But if you're going to honor somebody, let's honor him. I mean, I would, Same thing with the Best Actress Award. I mean, I think that, I'm going to give it to Olivia Colman because three of the people in this, Jessica Chastain, Nicole Kidman, and Kristen Stewart, who are all fine, are playing real-life people that we're all familiar with. Tammy Faye Baker, Lucille Ball, and Lady Diana Spencer. That's just my preference. Just take those and put them over to the side. It comes down to Penelope Cruz and Olivia Colman. And Olivia Colman in The Lost Daughter is terrific. Penelope Cruz is terrific. I give it to the person who's in a movie I like a little more. And in this case, I like Maggie Gyllenhaal's The Lost Daughter slightly more than Parallel Mothers. So that's how I would fill out this ballot. It doesn't mean anything other than that, other than how I would fill it out. Similarly, I would, probably pick, probably Cody Smith-McPhee for Best Supporting Actor. I'm really happy that Jesse Plemons got nominated because that is the type of role that doesn't get acknowledged an awful lot because it looks easier. He's not doing a lot of the flashier stuff like Cody Smith-McPhee is. And I don't really know, I don't think it's going to affect I don't really think it's going to split between them because I think, well, we'll see. We'll see. J.K. Simmons in Being the Ricardos, again, he's impersonating William Frawley. I thought he did a good job of that. Kieran Hines was wonderful. Troy Kotsur was wonderful. But this is just who I would pick. Like I said, Samuel L. Jackson told me one time the way you fill these things out is you get your ballot, you put it down on the kitchen table, and you look at it and you vote for your friends. You pick your friends, you vote for your friends. You leave it there. Your wife comes by and she votes for who she wants to win. And then the kids come by and they fill out this and this, whatever they want. And then the maid comes by and she finishes it off. So, that's kind of the way I look at it, is like a lot of these categories I'm not terribly invested in, sort of like, well, I'm just going to pick who I like, best animated feature film. It's Mitchell versus the Machines because I saw it and I liked it. Flea actually is a film that I would really consider in this case. And, but I think I'd probably go Mitchell's and the Machines. Cinematography, I'd probably go Nightmare Alley at this point. But Tragedy Macbeth, oh, wait, maybe not, Dune was really good too. And West Side Story, again, I haven't seen it, so I can't do that. Well, I'm look at costume design. Wow. Costume design, hey, I don't care, Dune. I mean, really, that's the way I would do this. Documentary feature. Boy, the ones listed, I would probably go with Flea. I have not seen a couple of these, I have to admit. But I have seen Summer of Soul, which I think is going to win. See if we're going to think it's going to win. Film editing, boy, King Richard's was really well edited. Yeah, King Richard maybe. Power of the Dog again got nominated in that category. International feature film. I think this is where Drive My Car is going to win. And Drive My Car is a wonderful film. I think it should be. I would love it if it won Best Picture, but it's not. It's not going to. We already given a Best Picture to an international film, and it's 3 hours long. And a lot of people, especially Academy voters who are watching this like me, they're watching it at home mostly, are probably not going to be drawn into it for 3 hours. But I do think it's going to win international film. Hand of God, Worst Person in the World, and I haven't seen Lunana, A Yak in the Classroom, which is one to look up. I have not seen that. Worst Person in the World is a very good film, too. I really like that. Original score. Power of the Dog really needs to win that. Really needs to win that. Original song. Eesh, I hate this. The Van Morrison thing, and Van Morrison has not had a good time of it recently with his politics and the anti-vax stuff and like that. But he Down to Joy, which he runs over the opening credits of Belfast. I thought that was an old Van Morrison song that I just didn't remember. I really liked it, and I think I would pick that. There you go. Best Original Screenplay. Original Screenplay. That's an interesting category because that means that's they sat down and wrote it for the thing. I'm going to go with Worst Person in the World because Licorice Pizza, maybe. Yeah, Licorice Pizza, maybe. The other three are pretty standard. I mean, Belfast is really nice piece of writing, but it's not. Adapted screenplay, it definitely lost Daughter. I read a little bit of the book that it's based on. And the film's a lot better than the book. Let me just say that. Oh, Dune, yeah, that would be another one. Drive My Car would be another. All those adapted screenplay guys, those are all nice. So anyway, that's kind of my Oscar rundown. What is it, man? I don't know. We'll probably get people back to pick the Oscars this year. We skipped that last year, but I think we'll do it again this year. We'll see.